What you're looking at here is a TARDIS, and well, it may not look like it, it actually is bigger on the inside, which is a lie. It's not, it's just a box which I've given a blue surface. The surface is special, and I'm going to show this later. What I've got here is several themes set up. In 2.8 they would be up here under collections, but the general ideas should still work. What I've done is I've got this here, which is the inside of the TARDIS, which is just some test objects, and this thing here which moves around and kind of deforms, and it's pretty bright. This thing is spinning. It's also the same position as this other thing, which is also spinning at the same speed. And on the last one, we've just got this plane here, which is a special thing for later. Well, let's just focus on this here. So, I've got the plane that the thing is sitting on, I've got the cube, and I've got the TARDIS, which is also just called cube. I've not yet renamed stuff. Let's just do a small test render. I'm going to go low on the resolution of this one to like 10%, just to keep the recording running. And oops, I forgot something. I need to select all of these. I have no idea how this is working in 2.8. I have yet to be able to try that out. Unfortunately, it crashes on my laptop. So, just rendering after selecting all of these, or doing whatever you need to do in 2.8. Magic. Big on the inside. Now all of this can be moving, and I'm going to quickly show a clip here to show what it looks like when it's moving. Show some still images at higher quality and stuff. It's all very basic, not very high quality because my laptop is kind of shit. So, let's do the popular thing and just, after doing that, do a new file. Now, here we've got the basic stuff. I'm going to keep it this time and just scale it up to double the size, move it up to, I modified the startup file a little bit. I never actually used this. I quickly found out that it's not very useful to have these cross sections. But since I never actually use it, never really had any need to change that. Yeah, see this already. But for what I'm doing here, it's not really important. It's really just a small demo. And insert that and move up and extrude inside. Just have this small like this. Let's open this actually and put it down so we have just a small ridge here. And here's the first thing we are going to do. We are going to go over to the materials section, and we are going to make two materials. This one is going to be this one. In order to make it more obvious which is which, we are going to color it on the viewport by going to the settings section of the material subsection. What's this section of all of this called? Is it properties? Material properties, down to the settings section of the material properties, and just use the viewport color option to set that to we can, of course, complete the whole thing, make do that up here, put text on it, whatever. But all we need really is this and the two materials. Now, of course, the materials are not completely finished. One thing we need to do is go to the red one, and this is for later. I'm going to repeat this later if I remember correctly, or if I do it in editing. We're going to go back down to the settings and use the path index and move it over to 1. Simple. And this is only for red. Nothing else is going to be path index 1. You can do it to 64, 128, anything really, right? But since we only have this one TARDIS and this one, well, we only need one. We could make multiple TARDIS. So, like this, just making several different path indexes and several insights. But this is just a simple demonstration, so it's going to be easier to just keep it at the one. Okay, so we've got this object finished, right? Next up, we are going to duplicate it and move it over to the next layer, or in 2.8 to the next, I forgot what it is called. Put a click on the text on the screen, okay? And move ourselves over there. So now camera is gone because we are in the second one. Let's go to visible layer. Right. Let's actually rename these so it's more obvious which is which. Butterfingers. And I just copied this here for ease of accessing all of this. I just need the store section, and I can just do whatever. I can now extrude it inside and start scaling, making it bigger on the inside. Just keep it a little bit tame on the scaling like that. Okay, and just have this big inside. I can go for miles, literally. Okay, so that's that, right? But we need to open this up also. And now we've got the inside. Looks pretty much big, right? And it's definitely bigger than this outside. So that's definitely done. But we also need a different material for this. We can actually reuse the blue one and just remove red. It's all automatically going to switch over to blue, because one thing else there is it's not going to default to nothing in case you have some complicated setup and stuff. Maybe it's useful, maybe it's hindering for some people. For me it's useful in this situation, so I'm fine with it. And yeah, actually that's just completely done. We can just now put some test object in there. This thing just gives that stop. And image use 640 enough and just make it make over something else weird something wrong with recognition or I think excessively large let it use every something else maybe with it negative and this is all fine but of course now here's the thing. If you go into the camera view and just the camera is completely wrong for this, you I guess which like yeah sure not 2 6 well values and I'll just let's start this video yeah, anything I forgot? Yeah, right, I wanted to keep the recording intact, so let's move it down to 10%, save and render. That's not really big on the inside, that's just one block and another block tacked onto it, right? So of course, how do we fix that? How do we make it actually bigger on the inside? Well, here's where the material index comes in. We need to do render layers and compositing, and this is kind of complicated for somebody who has never really done anything with this section, with thought to himself, what is this and why do I need all of this? And well, for this, basically what you do is we do one render layer which we call inside, and we do another one which is called outside. Is that dyslexia or something? I should probably get that checked with sometime. Maybe it's just general clumsiness. And we need to, well, we've got this layer, which is the inside, where, we've got only the inside. We've got the outside layer, which is only this outside layer, right? I have no idea how this looks in 2.8. I think it should be possible, otherwise we wouldn't have released it, right? So let's just hope that it still works. And we need to actually exclude this. Actually, let's keep it like this. So we've got these two layers, and let's just render. So you may have noticed something happened here. First it was the inside, then the outside. But now it just has this light here and it has the outside, and something's weird, right? Well, Now's the point where we go into compositing and use nodes. Here we have, select use nodes down here for the compositing layer section of the compositing view, and you have these options. If I remove it, it doesn't vanish, it's just, at first it's empty, you activate this and it opens up. So we've got this thing here, which is an render layer node, which has all of these values like alpha, depth and stuff. This thing here is for longer animations or renders. What we want to do is we want to check how it looks, so we need another output, which is the viewer. And I opened this by using Shift A in case you don't know that. It's a quick shortcut to make something visible immediately. So, doing these and these two. What I do at this stage is I go down here to this section here where we have the preview, and we go down to viewer node, which has appeared as soon as we inserted this node here. And at this point it doesn't really do anything, but if we do any change, add updates, and here we go. Seems familiar, right? And here we have all of the other stuff like alpha, which is visible, invisible, whatever is opaque is white, whatever is see-through is black stuff. Depth, which is, how deep stuff goes into the scene, which is based on the render limit of the camera. So you can multiply by that and stuff by that and just have it. Let's focus on the TARDIS. So you may notice there's only these three things, but while alpha gives me the whole cube, it isn't really the door. What we need to do is, let's get complicated here. Let's duplicate this render layer. Right, it's the same thing. We can go down here where we see the inside and go to outside. And now we see how this works, right? We move this over here and we have the inside with the pink stuff and the blue interior of the TARDIS and all of this stuff, which is actually not needed for our purposes. So, what do we want to do? We want to combine these two things. We need to use a color mix, move it in here, stuff updates automatically, and put this inside image over here, and we need to mix this whole thing somehow so that this doesn't look, well, like this. So let's go back to the default view just for more space over here. And here's where the passes come in. If you go down to the passes, you have all of these options. And one of these options is material index, which may seem familiar because that is what we used earlier when going to TARDIS outside, going to the materials, the path index for the material index render path. Right? So after we've done this, just render again and go back to compositing. And now we have this index. Just move that down here. Inside is inside, outside is outside. Done, right? But it kind of looks weird because the inside generates light. That light affects the other section, the other render layer, which we don't want because, well, you've never seen a TARDIS do this except when it explodes. So let's go back to the default view just for more space again. Go over to the render layer, and here we go and select exclude on the respective opposite section. You may notice this is identical to, if you go to the 3D view, all of these, right? That is what this is. We've got these layers, right? We've got this layer here, which is this, and which is this. We don't want to exclude itself on itself. I don't know what happens then. I assume nothing. So we exclude the other layer on the respective image layer. Select both for rendering, render again, and look at that. Inside is inside, outside is outside. Inside light does not affect outside except for when it shines out. Except it doesn't, right? That's for later. So, no, wait. I think that is for now. Because right now we have some things we can do. That's I think it's a little bit too big for that's plenty big for a big army inside demonstration, right? We want to make a floor where the TARDIS has landed, right? So just make a plane, select it, scale it up to 8 times its size. That's plenty. Make it smaller. It is currently on the inside layer, which we don't want because the inside is only visible on the opposite side of this red material. So let's move it over to the first one, which is only this. Select both again. I can shift select by using numbers and just render again. And we have TARDIS sitting on something. But remember that light in the inside is 64 brightness, which should affect the outside, but it doesn't. So here's where the third layer comes in. And this is, I guess it's optional, but if you have lights on the inside, you want to have them affect the outside, right? Otherwise, the TARDIS is kind of just a box. And you are going back to the first few seasons of the new Doctor Who series, where they just had the box and just cut to the inside, and sometimes did a green screen effect. Right? Let's go over here. Actually, let's duplicate this, move it to layer 3, and then go over here. Make a new render layer, select the third one, and now I need to think. I need to include this. I can, I guess, include this. Or I can just stick. Yeah, let's actually just let's just see what happens if I'll do all of this. I can always cut my fumbling out later on, right? So, of course, since in the compositing we only have these two things, that's not really visible. What we need to do is, again, get another render layer and select... I didn't rename it. Well, it's not a big problem. Go over here and mix it with this. We just have this black shadow. And add it onto this. Kind of looks weird, right? Let's focus on the shadow first. We see this shadow here. This is, again, the shadow of the inside, because the outside is affecting the inside, blah, blah, blah. We don't want this shadow. So, going back to the render layer for the inside light to affect the outside, just select that inside. I am good with names. Right, okay. We exclude the first one where the lamp is. So any lamp has to be excluded for this layer if it is not on the inside of the TARDIS. And we go back and render again. Here we go, we've got the light. But you notice the shadow is still kind of there. That has a very good reason. I was already in default, okay. The reason for that is it's kind of standing on it, right? Also, of course, because there's light from the outside in the world realm. But that can all be fixed real quick by doing this quick trick. See all of this? This outline, remember the outline. Oh, I actually just re-edit it in here, right? I can just... I've never really used the knife tool. I want to have this as accurate as possible, or just as needed. Just select the outline of the inside room of your TARDIS. Can I? Again. Okay. Oh, no, okay. I may or may not I just could. Like I said, never use knife tools. Zoom in next video. Zoom in, we can't be as accurate. Move and go here. And next corner. And here, next corner. 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 Move like this. Move like this. So, you know, we don't get the finished product. And enter. Yes, okay, that's how it works. Like I said, first time using this really, just select this section here and yeet it. Oh, it kind of looks shite. but for our purposes it's going to work. Technically you could probably just make a plane that goes out here, but in case you have some reflection, it's going to be a tiny bit more realistic if you put it around the whole shape. Okay, now let's go back. The whole thing, press enter, and that looks kind of okay, right? No shining through here of the shadow, and all of it seems to come together. Of course, this is kind of, well, bad. But since we are going low res, just up a bit more sharp, right? And up the sampling a lot. Maybe, oh, let's keep transparent. Move this down, go down to 8. Like I said, just for this recording to keep it intact. And yeah, rendering I'm going to speed up or cut out for the video at the end. Yeah, and here we go. One thing I could do in compositing is increase the head. And that's a little bit more like it, right? Easy. And because it's compositing, you can just insert some more effects. I would recommend consolidating some of these things into groups. Maybe this section here, right? Not that, but yeah. Just have it as a group and say outside. No, wait, did it switch around? It switched them around, of course it did. Inside, outside, and Butterfingers. And it's also small because I needed to scale it down for it. Yeah. Right, rename stuff as you need it. And all of this should work. You may want to also include this, like intensity, whatever, and just move back out. Alright, that's the TARDIS. You can, like I showed you, animate the whole thing, and it works just fine. I think what doesn't work is using it in the viewport, but that's just something of a limitation for many things, I guess. But yeah, let's move the camera up here, rotate it to show the inside, render again. Maybe for this test thing at a lower sample rate, and you can see the inside. Right, and it definitely extends further than this plane here, as you can see, because the glow would be on nothing if it weren't the case. And yeah, all of this is a bit complicated and a bit more grainy than the other things, but it's what you need to work with, I guess. You can, of course, after the fact, just go back into compositing and add some more glow effects if you want, like filter, glare, and for glow. Just Be careful because of. Now let's actually see. I don't remember if this holds up if you activate transparency. Let's give it. If you deactivate transparency. Yeah, it holds up. I would say it holds up. Here you go. Garishly pink TARDIS. Or something. Okay. If there is any update to this technique, I will make a pinned comment in which any updates are going to be posted. If you have any questions, just shoot. I am open to feedback, suggestions, questions, whatever. If you need my help on r/blender, just shoot me some questions or just post it there. Community generally is pretty helpful. A quick Google search should solve most problems. What cannot be solved by Google can be solved by the community. Alright, that's it from me, and I don't know, happy time traveling. Don't like pink. Don't like pink. Just want to. There we go. No pink anymore. Still kinda blue. So that's filled up.